The KS-23 is probably the most misunderstood weapon in the entire game. Not because we don't know what it is, we know what it is, it's a gun, you shoot people with it. But that's the thing, you don't just shoot people with it, you can shoot walls with it. The KS-23 is one of the few guns that actually have a little bit of utility with it besides just being a killing machine. This thing can destroy walls, structures, pretty much anything. It's that rare utility that makes this gun very powerful and not just in the killing department. This thing is great when it comes to stalling cash outs, getting people out of certain spots like floating structures, which by far is the most annoying part when maps like Bernal. Screw Bernal suspended structures. But this isn't a video about Bernal. I love the standard issue, but the suspended structures need some work. You guys are here to learn about the KS, one of the few guns in the game that takes more than just aim labs to actually get good at. And don't worry, I have all the information needed to give you guys that experience, both the good and the bad, which is precisely what this gun is, both good and bad, and I promise that doesn't sound as cliche as I make it out to be. We'll start off with the utility aspect of this gun because it is better when you're comparing it to its offensive capabilities. The destruction capability of this gun is better than any other gun in the game, even beating out the sledgehammer and the minigun when it comes to its ability to destroy walls and other structures. With it only taking 2 shots to destroy structures in general, it makes it super easy to poke new holes in the enemy's defense to where you can snag a kill and turn the tide in the battle that you're trying to win. This aspect of the weapon can be used in more than just finding new routes to attack your enemies. Stalling the cash out is the key to any defense. You have specializations like the DMAT that does this perfectly, but you also can use the KS in the exact same way. Just shoot the floor directly beneath the cash out once, wait a little bit, once the cash out's getting stolen, all you gotta do is shoot it again. Bam! Cash out, steal avoided. It's as simple as that. Sledgehammer can do the exact same thing, but unlike the Sledgehammer, the KS has some range to it. So you can go from a rooftop, shoot down at the cash out, there you go, you got a stall. And you also have a couple enemies that you can also try to pick off as well. Let's take this idea of stalling the cash out to a whole new extreme. Suspended structures. The KS is fantastic for it. You don't even have to go anywhere near the structure to actually knock down the entire thing. All you gotta do, shoot the hooks 2 times, make sure they're parallel with each other, and then bam, there goes the entire thing. Of course, if it's not Bernal. And everyone knows once you shoot down that stupid suspended structure, it gives your team a decent advantage and vantage point, depending on where the suspended structure has fallen to, for you to just take the cash out. You don't actually have to jump up to the spot where the suspended structure was and take it from there. The only gripe I have with this weapon when it comes to its destruction is when you hit a wall, it takes 2 shots, right? Of course. But let's say you're slightly off to the left, to the right, up, down, whatever, and you hit another segment of that wall to where, like, let's say you're dematting it instead, it splits up into these jagged spikes, right? Those are the wall segments. If you hit another segment that isn't the one you shot before, it's not going to break. That sucks. Let's say you're running away from a person. What are you gonna do? You're gonna shoot a wall trying to get away. Oh shoot, I shot the wall twice. Oh no, I can't get through the stupid segments. The only change I would make with this gun is destructive stuff is just to make it destroy 2 walls if it's that close to the other segment, because it makes it really annoying when you're just trying to run away, trying to survive, and that happens. It sucks. With the utility, there isn't much I would change about this gun. I could see people say, hey, just change back to 3 shots. 2 is a little bit too much. No, it's not. It's underpowered if it's 3 shots for a wall to break. It's overpowered if it takes 1 shot. 2 is it's a sweet spot. It really is. Overall, I would give the utility of this gun a 9.5 out of 10, only because of the segment part. You guys already heard me rant about that. I'm not gonna do it again. Let's get to the other side of the gun where it doesn't shine nearly as bright as the utility. The offensive capabilities of this gun does need to work, and a decent amount of it too. At face value, this gun really isn't that bad. 100 damage body shot, not as long as you're not going past its effective range, is quite solid. And with the mid-season update, the KS got a very much welcome change to where it actually is hit scan up to 25 meters. And that one change makes the life of a KS user so much more easy. But there of course is something that can be changed to make this gun just that much more viable. If you're at the KS's optimal range of about 10 to 15 meters, this thing is a force to be reckoned with 100%. But all you have to do to not be in its grace is just go outside that optimal range. The minimum range for this gun is 18 meters, max range is 23 meters. And just in that 5 meter area, in that distance, it drops its damage output by 30% just like that. And 70 damage still is not that bad for this kind of gun. In fact, I wouldn't even change it. The thing I would change is where the 70 meters starts to implement itself over the 100. Me personally, I would increase the damage range by about 5 meters. Just 5 meters. When you do this, it complements the new hit scan mechanic that Embark implemented. When you see the bullet actually going down due to the gravity from it turning into a projectile instead of a hit scan weapon, you now know that you are now outside of the KS's optimal range. With how the bullet trajectory and damage drop-off is now, it just doesn't feel right when you actually are hitting these shots, but it isn't producing the same amount of damage as it was a meter before. It doesn't feel clunky to use, it just doesn't feel right. It feels like you should be producing more damage, and that's exactly what you should be doing. Moving the damage drop-off zone to 25 meters would also make it quite effective against other weapons that have this as their optimal range, like the sniper and the pike. It would make fights with these two weapons much more of a fair one instead of skewed towards the light or the medium that are using those designated weapons. Even with that optimal range changed, it would be a welcome change 100%, but it's not just the range that's holding this weapon back when it comes to damage, it's also the rounds per minute it produces. This thing is slower than a snail when you're rechambering around. It is absolutely terrible, and it really wouldn't take that much to actually fix it. Just switch up that RPM from 75 to 90 or maybe even 100. This answer could be the solution to fix the KS's time to kill issue. Let's say you're a god tier gamer, you're hitting every single shot. Even if you're hitting every single shot, the KS still doesn't perform the same amount of DPS as other weapons can at that range. The weapon is too punishing. Switching the rounds per minute to slightly more, just a tiny bit, not even a lot, just a little bit. Missing a shot with this gun won't be a death sentence. With all these variables at play, I give the combat effectiveness of this weapon a solid 5.5 out of 10. Just implement the changes that I suggested, or something similar to how I presented it, then it becomes close to an 8 or maybe even an 8.5, which is where it should be. This thing should not be meta. I do not believe this weapon should be meta, at least in the terms when it comes to the killing potential. I like the general idea of what the developers are trying to do. They're trying to make this gun super unique, and it really is. It truly is. But that doesn't mean it can't be good at the generic function of a gun, which is to kill people. With all things considered, this gun is a solid 7 out of 10, which is unacceptable for how awesome this gun is. The place it has inside the arsenal of a heavy is so unique compared to any other weapon. And just because of that, it should be shown so much more love than what it's getting now. But what do you guys think? At the state the weapon is now, how does it fit inside the finals in general? And let me know if these changes that I suggested would be a valuable change to the game. But yeah, thank you guys for getting so far into the video. You guys have a good day, right?